Okay, good morning. Happy Wednesday. It's hump day today, and let's see if we're going to get some continuation in the rally.
I think we are. I've been seeing a lot of crazy pre-market action this morning. Lots of things trying to front run everything else. So we'll take a closer look. But Matt, go ahead and take us through the indices. We're halfway through the week.
Yeah, halfway. Okay, so looking at the SPY, all I'm looking at right now are the fibs for SPY, really. We can see that the 1.618, 585.38, there is continuation to the upside. So if we go day over day on this chart, we clipped above it yesterday, so we continue to close daily candles above it, then this could lead to building a new foundation, kind of like what we did right here, right? We started closing daily candles above the 1.414, boom, 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 then 4 days in a row, and then it just went higher. So we could see some kind of continuation as long as we stabilize on top of that 585.38. So that's my main focus for the SPY. And QQQ, I am paying attention to a couple different things here, and the Ichimoku and the SMAs right here. We can see that the cloud was already broken a few days ago, or a few weeks ago, I should say, and it stabilized on top. Then it gapped up above everything, and now there's continuation higher. But we do have to see that there is like some confluence in the future of this 1.414 and the cloud there at the same level. So it could just continue higher in the short term, maybe go to like the 536 area, get kind of rejected, and then maybe come back and retest, or it really wants to break this 1.618. So we just got to understand there is confluence of this 500 level, 497. So there is always going to be a possibility to come back down there and back test it, and maybe even wick through and close this gap as well. So with that said, I am bullish on this, but I would be even more bullish if there was a back test in the future, because that would just be more proof that it really wants to break all-time highs. So right now we're in the middle of a range. I am bullish, like I said, but always in the middle of a range. I'm more cautious than anything, because it can go either direction very easily with any kind of news before it really chooses the true direction it wants to go, which I think is going to be up, but we could always go down first. And IWM, this is also breaking above this 208.74, or it's trying to pre-market 208.77. So it's up above like 3 seconds. It's not as bullish as the QQQ. This has been the QQQ show recently, not the IWM show at all. So we are going to be paying attention to this big zone right here, which it could be stuck in for the whole week, because the top of the bottom of the cloud is right there around 209, 210, and then the baseline is around 208.36. So this is like a tiny little doji candle, kind of just stuck in a range. But I think just stabilizing on top of this 208.74 is going to be crucial, because in the weeks to come, the cloud does go higher, so we do have the ability to go towards that 50-week moving average maybe next week, or even the week after, towards the 216 as well. So right now it just appears to be stuck, sandwiched in that little area. So I think the focus this week is just the QQQ, SPY, and maybe IWM will just do nothing and play catch up later on. So with that, we can go jump to Bitcoin. And yeah, Bitcoin still holding my linear scale 102. Is that if that holds, then yeah, the next target is going to be 113 up here, and the log scale is the most important that I'm watching, which is the 103,611. So this is your crucial support zone to maintain, which it is. Right, it is maintaining it very nicely. We can see day over day what's really happening, and zoom in here. Basically, it went above it on the 10th, closed above it on the 11th, and has so far only closed 1 day below it after it broke out above. So the trend has been it's maintaining it more as a base than not, more as a support than not. So 103,611, hold that. It goes higher.
Oh, that's so cool. I want to show just something I noticed in your SPY chart. I'll show it in my SPY chart if you'll throw me up here, Matt. I think, yeah. So here's the SPY on the daily chart. I haven't really looked at this in a while, but there's a gap here, and there's a gap here. So it had two gaps down, and yeah, this one got filled, but then there's whoops, I'm using the wrong key. Then there's like another one here, and then the gap up here. So it's almost like these two gaps match these two gaps. So I don't know if we necessarily need to see um, any more gap filling. So that would kind of make all of this an island. I guess includes this too. This is we're done with it. It doesn't necessarily have to test back any more gaps. So just keep that in mind. It could, I was using this Real Blonde Broker. Her daily calls are fantastic. She gave us a bunch of levels yesterday for the SPY, and I put them in a box. So this is sort of what she's looking for. It could go as high as this. I'm looking for this. This could be our weekly range right here. That she's 596 and 585 on the SPY. All right. So, and then I was just noticing a lot of stuff is just running crazy pre-market. I'll talk about Tesla in a second. Actually, let's just go Tesla now. Let's see. This is my TSLL chart. All right. Here's Tesla. And as if you watched the show last night, the Trumpet show last night, I decided that after all of this, I was looking at for the longest time the 414 highs, and now I'm kind of inclined to try out making the 488 high, the new high, the wave one, and the 214 low, the wave two, because it's such an extreme move, so fast. It makes a really, which means that it explains why price gapped up so quickly to 326 is because this gap up to this 20.6% fib extension. It was a 382, but I don't think it's going to back to the 236. Remember when I do retraces? Here's the whole this whole move from 488 down to 214. If it was going to do 382, 236, 618. That was the one I posted for the longest time. I said 319.03, then maybe back to 279, then up to 383. But now I'm kind of thinking it's doing these extensions. So I think it's going to, at minimum, the 382 next at 396. So we're in a hurry to go to the to 396. Then maybe it tests back to the 236, or because it's Tesla and it's crazy bullish, what if it just keeps running to the 764? That would mean we're basically on a straight shot for the wave 3 subwave 1 to 578.48. And then obvious resistance from Matt's chart that I showed you yesterday, last night, and might show you again right after this. 351 is the 50% retrace from that 214.25 bottom back to the 488.54 top. So 351.40 will be initial resistance. It's racing to get there now. It might pull back a little bit, but then basically, or it might pull back a lot for a 1-2 of the 1-2. But it should get to 351.40, maybe get above it a little bit, test back to it as support, and then keep racing on. What I'd like to see is something like an ABC up that kind of runs up to this important 786, gets thrown back to maybe the 618, and then it runs up to what's approximately my 764 here at 578 is kind of halfway between the 127 and the 141.4. So this could be a little wrong. It could actually just do 563, so too, which would be just absolutely nuts. So one crime at a time. It's got to prove my theory correct by getting to 351 and then maybe not hanging around underneath it too much for very long. Maybe going past it and then testing back to it first would be really good for my thesis. All right, there you go. That's Tesla. How about you, Matt? Let me not take the whole show here. My Tesla.
Yeah, we can see on my Tesla chart. Let's pull it up. Let's see that Tesla is breaking out. Yeah, towards. I talked about this last night on the show. And I said it's probably going to gravitate to the 350s where there's going to be some massive resistance, and that's exactly what it's doing. So my main target for this week is really 353 in that zone all the way up. If we go to the Tesla on my linear scale I showed you here, all the way up to the what is it? The 358, the orange level of the GAN up there. So that is the main thing that I'm really focused on for Tesla. So I think it is going to continue its journey higher. I think it is going to go to this big 350 zone, but I don't know if it's really going to break through it at the moment. So this is my main focus. And I think, like I've mentioned numerous times before, uh, Tesla likes to just respect the symmetry the most, right? We can see it on this chart how it just melted up to the 45-degree angle, then it melted back down to the angle, and it stopped a little bit in between at this. On the way up, it stopped at this orange level for a few weeks, and on the way down, it stopped at the orange level for a few weeks before going down, right? So I think if you look at all the fibs, look at all the indicators of the Ichimoku, whatever, what it likes to pay attention to most is just the symmetry of the chart. And we have confluence here with the symmetry of linear scale at that 358. We have confluence of the log scale GAN as well with the arc above at the 358 as well, 356. You know, it's almost the same level. So this is not a coincidence. And price just loves to gravitate to the symmetrical resistance and support. So that's my main focus because a lot of people, they were so angry when it kept on cutting through all that support on the way down, but it's doing the same thing on the way up, but they're not angry, you know. So it's just pay attention to the market symmetry is the bottom line to me. And right now 350s got to break above that to get back to the 400s and above, but until then it's going to be resistance.
I'm reading the comments. Logan's got a Hims commercial ad before he could watch your YouTube stream.
Oh, nice.
And
Yeah,
Kim says that Google knows him. Yep.
It's telling him a story. He needs to buy some, I guess. I don't know.
Let's see. Let me show my TSLL chart, which tells an interesting story on its own. Go to the 8-hour chart. So yeah, even just to go to the 382 on my Tesla chart, on my TSLL chart, sorry, TSLL, 2x ETF of Tesla, you know, it after this big move, top to bottom, the 382 is at 2026. I was trying to figure out how is that going to match up with the Tesla chart. And until I just changed my chart last night, it didn't make sense to me, but now it kind of does. So I should run to 2026 next. Then maybe back to 1492 to the 236, unless this just keeps extending. And then support would then be the 382 at 20. Gosh, I kind of want to just put that. But watch 1492. That's got to get through there first. Well, it already is in pre-market. We're above the 23.6 at 1495 is where price is right now. So yeah, look for 3422, and I'll just pull a measurement here. So yeah, that would be if it goes to the 76.4. That's 123% higher from where TSLL is right now. All right, I just wanted to share that. And anything else you want to talk about, Matt? Requests?
No, I did have Nphase up for a request
Please,
ready to
go
go.
ahead.
So
Go right
yeah,
ahead.
we can talk about that. And Nphase, nothing has changed, right? For the past few weeks, this 1.272 fib that I've been watching has been maintaining support. So boom, 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 3 weeks in a row. We did even hit it again, I think yesterday. So 44.32. And if you guys are looking, this is the fib from the previous 2014 high down to the 2017 low, right? And it's a perfect back test of that zone. And as long as this fib holds, which I think it can, it'll be a pretty good support. And even if you go to the linear scale version too, we can see that it's basically trying to hold this 2.618, and there is even more support at that $40 range. So I think we are still in a bottoming process for Nphase, and this is looking this is looking fine, right? I think this is how they start, right? Bottoming process do start this way. I mean, this is not a trend reversal, right? We do not have a beginning of an uptrend yet, but it is looking like it has the beginning stages of a bottoming process. So if you want to try to front run that new bull market in the future, I think this could be the opportunity. But just be careful, because if it starts to lose that $40 zone, then there is a good possibility of going much, much lower. So if you understand the risk and reward, and if you understand it starts going below like maybe $40, then I think it's probably time to not be so optimistic about it. But right now, it looks like a bottoming process, and it's in the development of starting a new bullish cycle, in my opinion.
All right, very cool. I went ahead and brought up AUR because that's interesting. I haven't looked at this one in a long time. Aurora Innovation, I had 5 waves up here. It exceeded the target that I had from this being the 1-2. And now that I look at it, it kind of feels like, once again, December to April 7th might be indicating that this is the real 1-2 right here, because it's such a big move, a wick up and then a wick down. So yeah, and if that's the case, then Aurora has already passed the 11.4. It got over the 236. I think it's going for the 382 and then the 236. 1236, 764, and then 2236. Way up here. So if that's the case, look for Aurora to 873 next. And then test back to 732 where we are right now as support. If it spends a lot of time down here, it might even extend. But let's watch the 382 first. 873, and if it does that to 732, then it goes to 1699, 1240 shot right there to 2666. So that's what I'm looking for first. If the wave one goes higher, then I'll move these all up a little bit. But yeah, it looks really good from here, and the institutions like it too. There's a weekly candlesticks. All right, I could do.
All right.
What do you have next?
I got
I could do
Rocket
Rocket Lab.
Lab on.
Oh, you got Rocket Lab. You do Rocket Lab.
Yeah. Yeah, so Rocket Lab, I'm looking at the previous 2021 high right here back in September of 2021 as a support, and it has been maintaining it as a support, and that's 2134. So we got a breakout back on April 21st, and now we have a couple back tests successfully holding. So hold that. It gets more bullish, but more importantly, I want to see it start to get on top here again, close the week back above it, then build a base on top of both that fib and also that arc. And if so, it can go higher, higher. And we can even put on the Ichimoku and see that the baseline could be a target for the next kind of resistance zone. That's really around $24. So that'll be the next target as well. But it might just still want to maybe gravitate a little bit sideways until it gets closer to the cloud, because it has been kind of extended from that Ichimoku cloud for a long time now. So maybe a little bit more time before it wants to make its next impulse move up. So I would just be patient with this one. Could be another few weeks or a few months before it really wants to start to break out. But as long as it maintains this 21 zone, I think it's going to have a bullish future in store. And the real level to get back above is going to be this blue level that really got rejected hard last time, and that's around 2970. So that's going to be the main focus to go towards all-time highs. But in the meantime, range bound, but it is looking more and more bullish.
Woohoo! And if you follow Rocket Lab, then you'll want to pay attention to the next SpaceX Starship launch, because every time they have a really successful Starship launch, all of the rocket associated space stocks go up. So keep an eye out for that as a catalyst. I've got NU new holdings here, and from the last time we looked at it, fighting of the 23.6 fib boss, and now it's more than halfway to the next one, to 382. And so let's look forward to go to at least the 382 at 1391 next. From where price is right now in pre-market, it's about 5.7% higher to the 382. And then if it stops there, it'll fall back down to support before going into the heart of the third wave. If it keeps going, if it goes more than halfway between the 382 to the 50% level at 1547. If it gets over 1478, then I would start to think it's going to go to 1703 for the 618 next. It's 1391 next for new holdings. Eventually, the heart of the third wave is 111% higher. Oh, no, wait, that's from last time. More prices now to the heart of the third wave, if it goes to 123.6, is 93% higher. So that's a really good, another good one here. Do I have a BABA chart? I know I kind of worked on it. Yeah, for Bob, I'm just looking at this retrace, and man, it's really been wild. I guess I should bisect this action. When Matt talks about price symmetry, we're talking about like this. You want sort of your trend line to have as much above it as below it. And so, yeah, I'm looking for the 382 retrace back up to its previous high, 157.83 for that A wave. And it almost reached it, but fell short. And now it's got to try it again. All right, that's BABA basically. Oh, I guess I should say it is another 19% higher to that 157.83. And then I haven't shown my SMCI chart in a while. And this morning it pumped up, didn't it? It made a big pre-market
45.
switch. Yep. So, oh, look. So once again, I was looking for, let's see. Trying to see these fibs. You know what? Let me just get, so after it bottomed here, I was looking for 382.236. It kind of went 382, 11.4. So once it regains this 236, I think it's going to rocket on up. Man, it could be that it's already in, that this is now in the heart of the third wave. Let me just get rid of what the subwaves are. Let me just say basically, I think it's going to 168.10 next. Without, you know, it'll go up there. There'll be like 5 impulse waves on the way up. It might look like corrective waves again, just like Tesla. It might be kind of like this. I should probably do a retrace from. Oh no, I can't do a retrace. Let's see. Wait, here's 76, 618, and then 141. Yeah, let's look for this. 275% higher to 168.10. With some oscillation around 91.42, maybe pausing at $100 and then dropping back to $82. And you can just see these fibs on the left or what matches up with my AB on in the middle here. So there you go. SMCI looks like it's going to be explosive from here. In fact, I kind of want to see your SMH now, Matt. Again, that's semiconductor.
Yeah, I want to show my SMCI first, just because I
All right,
want
please
to
do.
show you. I just want to show you some confluence of resistance right here. This is gapping up basically right towards the bottom of the cloud, right at the 50% level. And this 50% 50% level, if you go back in time, you can see resistance, 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 right? And it was kind of a big breakout zone too. So it's going to be, I think, in my opinion, maybe a struggle to overcome this zone. And we'll see, right? We will see if it can. But right now, I'm going to be a little bit cautious here. $46, maybe 46, maybe $47 in that zone. It's got to prove it wants to get inside the cloud first to establish some kind of base before it really wants to go higher. But right now, it's just gapping up exactly right towards resistance. So I'm not too excited on it at the moment. I mean, it did hold that arc and it held this 236 perfectly. So, and it never made like a lower low from back in February either. So this was a good development. But right now, it's kind of not making higher highs either. It's just basically since August of 2024, it's kind of just going sideways, right? So we need to see some kind of explosive move higher in order to get a little bit more excited. And right now, I don't think we have that just yet. But my SMH chart, you wanted to see it? Yeah, it's breaking above the weekly cloud, right? It's breaking above the 50-week moving average. It already broke above the 1.618. So this is kind of proving that AMD and NVIDIA and all that stuff, they're back, right? AMD looks back. It looks like it wants all-time highs again. What like that? I'll just show NVIDIA right now because I'm talking about it. But yeah, But yeah, I mean, this is something that really was struggling with the 120 zone in the past, and it just blew right through it this time. And I think it just needed this quick little, well, not really that quick, a few month V bottom to get all that liquidity down there in order to go higher. But the weekly chart really did hold all the support necessary to not be in a bear market, right? It held that 100-month moving average, it held the cloud, it held all of it, or 100-week moving average, sorry, and it held all of that support to go higher. So this is really showing that, yeah, semis might be back. Nvidia wants new all-time highs. AMD, it wants to break above this 200-week moving average, and that's what I'm watching for the most right now, 116.67. It hasn't closed a weekly candle above it since basically back here in January. So closing above that would be a nice trend reversal to actually continue its journey higher. But right now, it's not proving it wants to break just yet. So we'll have to wait for the weekly candle close. But yeah, I mean, Nvidia looks really great. AMD at resistance, SMCI at resistance, SMH, the semiconductor index, it's breaking above resistance. So that's kind of maybe a leading indicator showing that perhaps all of them do want to break their resistance, but we'll just take it one
Mhm.
level at a time.
Yeah, hiding out's been, doing Soxal, with, great success. I did a little bit of Soxal yesterday and then, got bored with it and then jumped out and went back into PTIR. Here's my MicroStrategy chart. I've been showing this to you guys for a while now. From the beginning of time, I started with a low of 1338. Really should be 1336. High, and then back to the April. Well, actually, no, this is a March 3rd low, and it kind of like double, almost triple, but that certainly held in as support. My 1, 2, so my fib extensions are as such, and MicroStrategy's already, it oscillated around the 11.4% boss, but then got to the 236, went back down a little bit, but then burst through and ran. It's been just making a straight, steady climb for the 382. And now it's waiting, just like we all are, to see what Bitcoin does next. If Bitcoin keeps moving higher, this will probably keep going to the 618. If Bitcoin does retract for a while, MicroStrategy could fall back down to the 236 for support for 351.22. But overall, at least the 886 is next after whatever support. Well, let's see. No, let me say that again. If it extends, if Bitcoin go to at least the 618, it would still come back to the 236. If it goes to the 764, I move my support up to the 382 at 429. If we get this, then MicroStrategy runs for another 52%. Then the downside is we get maybe a long correction, 16% down to 352. But then in general, to my minimum wave 3 target from where it is now, up 110%. From the wave 2, from 351 to be up 151%. MicroStrategy is looking great. MSTX even better, though we're right at an important resistance that's got to either flip or it's going to uphold and send us back down. That's the way I see MicroStrategy. I can keep going, Matt, or you can take one over, whatever you want.
Yeah, do one more, and then I'll do some of the crypto
Okay.
requests.
Let me try to do something I haven't done in a while. Oh, let's look at TEM. I haven't looked at TEM in a while. Tempest AI. I like the AIs. Wow. So I was looking for 382,236 minimum, and look what happened. It went past. It's gone more than halfway to the 50%. In fact, it's gone slightly above the 50%. So I'm going to target the 618 now. But if I can go to the 764, then it comes back to 382. So look for 7853 next. So for Tempest AI, that is another 11% higher, followed by a drop that you'll want to get out before, 33% drop down to 5234 after that. Unless it goes even higher than 61.8, which would be the 764, 382, and that would be, oh wait, did I already do this? 26% higher. No, you know what? That's different. 26% higher. All right, Tempest AI. Let's again, just like well, no, this one's definitely going to the 618 next, I think. 7853. And we'll just have to see what happens after it gets there. All right. All right, go ahead, Matt. You want to do some crypto?
Yeah, I saw some crypto requests, so I'm gonna start with Solana here and switch to my chart. Yeah, so Solana, we can see it's breaking above inside the cloud again, breaking above this 886 174.77, and I think it looks like it wants to go towards the top of the cloud and also the baseline and the arc up here, which is in the 190s, 192, 193, 195. That zone is probably going to be the next target for price, but all that really matters to get there is to stabilize on top of this 174.77 now. And if so, then it's going higher. So big breakouts last week and continuation this week. So stabilization on top of 174, and it is going to go higher. So with that, we can look at Jasmine next. And Jasmine, we can see it's breaking towards the top of the cloud. And also, if you put on the moving averages too, you can see the 100-week moving average was cleared, and the 50-week and the cloud is coming next. 0.023, 0.025, that zone is going to be the next resistance zone, and I think it can continue in that direction. So it's looking more and more bullish as well. Great recovery for Jasmine. And I think I talked about this last night. DAG, it basically broke out last week of all that massive resistance, broke out, back tested this week. So we are having kind of a trend reversal here because it's been stuck under everything for a long time. And now we are actually above all of this previous resistance, now flipped to support. So we have it has the ability to go up towards the 0.05 and even the 0.06512 right up here, the 382 fib. So I think the continuation higher can happen, right? DAG actually has that potential for this weekly candle close, getting closer and closer to this 0.057 up top. And the last one I saw was Corium. And is that, yeah, US dollar Bitstamp. I don't know if I have any other Corium chart with more data. Maybe this one. Yeah, this one has more data. So yeah, Corium actually, it got back above all the major stuff too as well, right? All the 100 week, the 50 week, the conversion line. So any kind of back test in that zone down to the 12 cent or maybe even 0.123 or so, I think is kind of a breakout, could be a back test for the continuation higher. And we could see price even go back up to the 20-cent zone or even the baseline up here at 24 cents. So I think it looks better and better. Just hold that 13-cent, 12-cent zone, and then it can go higher.
I've got two I can throw in whenever you want.
Yeah.
Don't let me stop you if you're okay. If you throw it to me, I just want to show the person asked about silver, SLV. It's silver. Precious metals charts will always make you sad. You'll wait a long time for a pop, and then you get it for like a day, and then it drops back down again. Silver and the 8-hour chart is sort of an oscillating, and right now it's right in the middle of the two oscillations. I'm precious metals. Go with the Bitcoin and stuff. But overall, mm, let me come back to the silver chart. Lockheed Martin. Um, it's really interesting that the pandemic to the euphoric high of November last year, and then the April 7th low. It kind of looks like this thing could be building for a much larger setup higher, like Tesla level moves. So right now, Lockheed Martin, it has been fighting with the 11.4 mini boss. If it can get over this weekly moving average 75 resistance up here at 486.55, it should get through the 236 and onto this 382 up here at 563.19. It's a big company. The stock kind of moves slow, but if you're in it for long term, this might be a good place to enter LMT. 22% higher to the 382. Yeah, it just says they're not as nimble as the smaller caps. And then 92% to the heart of the wave 3 up here. Anyway, LMT looks good over. Has to get over this. 62 will be a pretty critical resistance for it, I'd say. Matt, how do you do something else? And let me fix my silver chart here. I thought I had it.
Yeah. Let's see. APP app 11. I think this will be my last one before I run away. And APP. So it's trying to break above the baseline right now, and that's at 362.83. So this does have that potential to continue its journey higher. But I've mentioned before, there's a lot of resistance up here, and I'm not convinced yet that it really wants to break out of this zone. So even if it does gravitate back towards the 450s, 460s, 470s, maybe even 5 zone, not even sure it's going to break out above. It didn't even get to the 1.618 last time. It got blocked by the green level of McGann right there before it even got to that 1.618. So it might be just stuck in this giant range, this big wedge for a while, for many weeks, for many months before trying to break out. But I think as long as it stays above this blue angle here, it has a fighting chance to break above. But I think it just has to prove it to me. And just the reaction based off of this green GAN level with that bullish engulfing candle, then an immediate reversal from it just makes it seem like there's a lot of sellers in that area. So I think it can go higher, but not convinced it's going to break this 500 just yet. So, but for this weekly candle close, we're going to watch this 362.83 close above that, and then it has the potential to get more bullish.
All right, cool. Thanks, Matt. I'm going to show this silver chart. Let me show you what a 382, 336, 618 can look like. I made the line really black here because you can see this is week. These are weekly candlesticks, weeks and weeks and weeks. After spiking at its all-time high, 48.35, back down to 10.86, it went a little over the 382, but basically just stayed around the 382 for a while, and then fell back to the 236 twice. Couldn't get over the 382, so it pushed it down to 11.4. And now 61.8 would be what I'd be expecting at minimum, which is from where price is right now, about 14% higher. I don't think it needs to go back anymore. So yeah, look for 14% higher to 61.8, maybe to the 70.2% fib. That just slightly back here in 2012 to 37.18. If it does that, that would take you like 24% higher. But overall, I like tech better than precious metals. Sorry to dump that opinion on you. That's all we have time for today, guys. We'll be back again tomorrow. Today, in general, I think I'm looking for continuations higher in some places, a pause in others. RBB thinks that Real Blonde Broker thinks will just be range bound. Look at the SPY again. Go back and, if you don't follow her and look and see. She's got pinned um, SPY or SPX levels. And sorry, I was trying to look for the one that I had with the, maybe I didn't save it. Anyway, you can blue box out where she thinks that her range is going to be. Anyway, so you can go back and watch that. That's it. Thanks, Matt. It was a great, people really loved the show last night. You did a great job.
Yeah, it's fun.
It was fun. Kat did a great job too. All right, and we'll be back tomorrow, and we'll check and see how everything worked out.
Yeah, have a great day. Bye, guys.
Yeah. Meet you, Matt.